Good evening, my name is Ba. It used to be Bob until I had the last letter of my name removed in order to improve efficiency in social settings and directness. Without further deliberation, let us break into the news. The U.S. Department of Justice has just labeled New York City, Seattle, and Portland as anarchy jurisdictions and have threatened to cut off funding if these cities do not resume order. The collective known as Next Week Now knows this for sure, and are currently in the process of booking airline tickets to all three cities for the coming week. As their represented legal authority, I will disclose that they want to see how many places they can say bad words on TV without getting absolutely slapped across the face by legal. Actually, but for the purposes of defamation, not actually, once Next Week Now is finished flying in that Spirit plane, it too will be labeled an anarchist jurisdiction. Although it does not take that much to push the Spirit system into a state of total anarchy. I am going to start finalizing the legal documents for this exchange now. I will be the new mayor of this lawless sky town, and I shall reign with an iron fist. In other news, New York, Seattle, and Portland will seem to be just as radical as the Trump administration thinks it to be. In fact, here's a snapshot from the future to you right now. Do you see that? Do you see that? Barter only! How dare they mess with capitalism, the most beautifully complex system of grief and oppression in the American society and government? Without financial incentivizing, why would we need lawyers? Business lawyers! I would serve no purpose! Humanity would serve no purpose! Who would we even serve? Each other? Each other! Your disgusting humanity knows no bounds. After the anarchist cities are finally cut off financially, they decide the only thing anarchist enough to live up to their new name would be to do exactly what the US government did not expect of them. Operate. Seattle will create a new form of self-governance named Foligarchy. This plant-based authority is not unlike the distant hierarchy of a farmer's market. The more you plant into a community garden, the cooler spot you will get to trade all of your hippie merchandise at the weekly gathering. Gathering with a capital G. Seattle stressed that this gathering is not a cult thing at all. The new flag will be a reused rice bag with the communist symbol. Unfortunately, not close enough to the communist symbol to sue for copyright, though. Instead, basically just one of those little shovels and a smiley face. But who knows what horrors could lie behind that reused bag? The Constitution will just say, and this is verbatim, Grandma's rule, business dudes drool. Ouch. After a while of worrying about how the absence of government funds might affect the state of the city, a sudden collective thought will hit each of New York City's inhabitants. Except for those in Staten Island. They have been waiting for this moment. Soon after, the standardized test scores will hit an all-time high, unemployment will hit an all-time low, crime stats will be non-existent, etc., etc. But what really categorizes the NYC anarchist zone turned government will be the musical festival planned for the pagan holiday known as Halloween. In a press release, anarchist rulers will announce all the artists producing auditory insults that have exclusive allegiance to New York, including Vampire Weekend, Jay-Z, and Ariana Grande. Everyone who has ever won a Grammy before. They will be putting on a concert to celebrate their new independence, and in turn, they'll cure coronavirus to listen to these people sing. As the other US states beg for the release of the vaccine, New York will simply update their citywide Twitter. Didn't think we would get this far, but somehow we're doing better than those D-bags who had 244 years to get equality right. AOC, no cap. Portland will not release much information until their citywide website gets updated too. Have you seen that movie Mad Max? Yeah, it's basically that, but all the cars don't contribute to emissions and we have a lot more trees. Next Week Now Limited Liability Corporation would like to stress that they will make sure to pack the in-season armor. Quote, got to make sure we are stunting on M while we are driving up on M. Moving on. Following the death of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, President Trump has been losing sleep. While his waking hours have been most restful, what with his relaxing golf games and whatnot, his sleeping hours have left him exhausted due to his constant horrific nightmares. His nightmares have gotten worse and worse as the days passed. After finding the word dissent written in blood on the carpet of the Oval Office, he knows that Ruthie is still watching him, tethered to this mortal coil through some supernatural means. After a week of no sleep, President Trump stumbled into the Oval Office and called for the Department of Homeland Insecurity to create a new paranormal division that would report directly to him. Next Week Now wishes to incriminate their lies further by reporting that the Department of Homeland Insecurity's new division will be for paranormal affairs, known by those who hate information and specificity as the PAD. Upon its formation, the PAD quickly begins to contain the ghosts of politicians past, starting with RBG and moving further on a sweep through Congress. It's after saving Ted Cruz from his possession by the ghost of Antonin Scalia that they realize the largest oversight in the U.S. government. Jimmy Carter should have died years ago. The government quickly begins to work to right this wrong, and the PAD begins sending out its Black Ops paramilitary kill squads to eliminate the threat known as Jimmy Carter. The problem? The kill squads disappear, and yet Jimmy remains. How does he make them disappear? We don't know. But he is no longer the only president with no blood on his hands. After the loss of the 5th Squad by the hands of President Carter, the PAD Research and Development Department realizes what has happened. Jimmy Carter has placed his soul into every Habitat for Humanity home that he has built. After a joint resolution behind closed doors, the PAD decides what they must do. They must go and burn down all 157 homes that Jimmy Carter has helped to build since the end of his presidential term. The resulting fires weaken Jimmy, but also our nation, as the blazes become less and less contained and spread throughout our country. The smoke from each fires fly high into the atmosphere, blocking 80% of all sunlight from reaching the surface of the planet, thereby not only counteracting global warming, but throwing our planet into an ice age. But where does this leave our protagonist, Jimmy Carter? From the ashes, Jimmy rises more powerful than ever, his soul restored to him. It is then discovered that there is one more vessel for Jimmy's soul, his peanut farm, which is unable to be burned down due to his economic importance, as peanuts do not need sunlight to grow, and now sustain most of the surviving inhabitants of the former United States of America. Jimmy's strength and immortality allow him to become the first eternal Lord of the Nut. May Jimmy deliver unto us his benevolence. And now we follow Samantha Inefficient Mathis as she tries to figure out something.